What is going on in Maryland? I don't know, guys, if this has anything to do with Doge or what we're seeing sweep across this great nation of ours, where you have Trump bringing in the National Guard and cleaning up the city. And apparently, the ICE people went into Chicago, into that building. Did you guys see that? And I just thought it was epic. Man, they all like went in there and they arrested it because apparently there's squatters in this building. There's illegals in there harassing the squatters. You can't make this stuff up. So they're trying to control the squatters. I don't know what they're doing, making them sell drugs. I don't know. I don't know. This is what they said. There's squatters in there, and now there's illegals harassing them. So the team goes in there, boom, get them out. Get them out, right? So all of this stuff is happening. And we got the guy from Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, the superintendent who's illegal. Uh, we also got what is this? Let's see if you can see this. Operation Twin Shield. Okay, I'm going to do a video later on that. I'm going to do a quick one on this one we're fixing to talk about of the school system in Maryland. This is immigration operation uncovers sham marriages and fake death certificates. So you have all this stuff going on, right? You got all this stuff going on across the country, like right now, right? This stuff is happening all pretty much simultaneously. It seems like we're getting daily reports on illegal stuff, the sham marriages in Minnesota. By the way, that's in Minnesota, and I'm going to cover that in another video because I found it interesting. And this has happened all over the country. And here we have Maryland, the school board, asking for more money from the federal government for students that nobody knows where they are or if they even exist. So what I'm saying is there a connection between all of this happening and finding out the corruption and fraud on every level that you could think of? I mean, you got a school board superintendent isn't illegal. What is happening? And now you have the school board in Maryland, the school people, the people for the children. In Maryland, the taxpayers are contributing nearly $20,000 per student in the public schools, totaling around $219 million to educate students whose whereabouts were unknown. This amount does not include federal funding. The investigation by Project Baltimore raised serious questions about the funding process, as most of the school's funding is based on the number of students enrolled on September 30th. The investigation revealed that 10,997 Maryland students were unenrolled in 2024, and the schools received funding for the entire year despite not knowing the students' whereabouts. This issue has been a concern for years. What? If you've been so concerned, what is happening? Let's just keep wasting millions of dollars every year, but it's a concern. Wow. The investigation revealed these students, we don't know where they are. And we've been concerned for this for years, with the number of unenrolled students increasing each year. They said, damn, we can get away with this. Let's just add more names and get more money, more money, more money. The investigation calls for action to address the problem of students not being accounted for while receiving funding. Maryland taxpayers paid an estimate $168 million in 2024 to educate students who could not be found. What did they say? They don't exist. That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming. Found another article. extensive research. A Project Baltimore investigation has uncovered that Maryland taxpayers in 2024 gave public schools more than $100 million to educate students whose whereabouts were unknown or possibly just didn't exist. It's late September, and I really should be getting home. Rod Stewart. It's late September, and Maryland public schools are busy not just educating or not just indoctrinating your children, students by counting them. They don't just indoctrinate them and they don't just educate them, they count them. But a Project Baltimore investigation is raising serious questions about the process. We have learned that in 2024, taxpayers gave more than $100 million to schools. They can't find these kids. State Delegate Kathy Ziegler, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, represents Baltimore County. She's also a former public school teacher. Look, unknown. Unknown. 10,000 of them. This is very concerning, remarked Ziegler. We need to do something to stop this problem. In total, in 2024, 891,553 Maryland students were counted on September 30th. So apparently, that's the day of the year to do a census in the school. And then they get funding for the following year. Throughout that school year, according to Maryland State Department of Education, there were 14,538 instances of students in grades 7 through 12 who were unenrolled. The documented reasons students unenrolled ranged from illness to unemployment, but the biggest category by far is whereabouts unknown. So on that particular day, throughout the whole school system, that many students were not there that day. What is happening? There were 10,997 instances of students who were unenrolled because the school could not find them. But since most of the students were enrolled on paper on September 30th, the school received your money to educate them and to indoctrinate them with liberal left-wing propaganda for the whole entire year. They didn't even know where the kids are. Are they safe? Are there safety risks for these kids? Is it fraud? I think we all know the answer to that. According to state data, Maryland schools in 2024 received nearly $20,000 per student, according to the Maryland State Department of Education. Out of the 10,997 whereabouts unknown designations, 8,448 of these students were funded, meaning local and state taxpayers gave public schools statewide an estimated $168 million in just 1 year to educate and to indoctrinate your students whose whereabouts are unknown. So we'll indoctrinate people. They're not even there, and we're just doing it. And that amount does not include federal funding. So there's even more money. Finding missing students in Maryland is not a new problem. Project Baltimore first reported on the issue in 2021, but it is a problem that's getting worse. So you're telling me for 4 years y'all have known about this? In December 2021, then Maryland Comptroller Peter Francock told Fox 45 News it's unacceptable for taxpayers' money to go for students that are knowingly not in the school system. In 2019, 6 years ago, the state reported 6,126 instances where students were categorized as whereabouts unknown. every year since the number has increased to 2024's level of 10,997. Well, this is stupid. So if they didn't show up to school that day, and I'm assuming this is like statewide, right? Maryland, the whole area of Maryland. Okay. So Maryland is doing this census count. So if your kid is sick, you call in, or the school calls you. I know I got to call. Well, your kid didn't come to school today. We're just notifying you. I'm sure you parents out there get this notification. So what numbers did they call? Did they make these robocalls? Because it's usually a robocall. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Why are they counting? Why are they continuing to increase the numbers of students? They're putting in the category of whereabouts unknown to receive funding for students that clearly do not attend the school, Ziegler said. Well, she begs and asks the question. Following Project Baltimore's reporting on missing students in 2021, Carroll County Delegate April Rose introduced legislation to count students 4 times a year to increase accuracy. Her bill quickly died. We can't have that. That sounds logical. Opponents such as the Maryland State Education Association, the teachers union, said the bill would overcomplicate. Oh my God, you can't make this stuff up. Overcomplicate the data snapshot that is intended to ensure adequate funding for schools and for the children. Look, it is the usual suspects. The Maryland State Education Association and the teachers union are getting 168 million up to 216 million, whatever it is, a year. What are they doing with this money? Just ask you guys yourself. Test scores are in the toilet. Kids can't read. But yet they need more money. And this will complicate the data. This will just create a headache for us. Okay? So don't worry about the missing children. They just weren't at school that day. But they're here. I mean, this is insane. The teachers union. They need to do away with this, I guess. I don't know. But they need to do something. And here we have this poor girl, Carroll County Delegate April Rose. She's doing her due diligence in introducing legislation to count students 4 times a year. You'd get a more accurate count. Well, you wait one day a year. Well, what is that all about? What is that all about? After speaking with Project Baltimore, Ziegler sent letters to Rick Henry, the Maryland Inspector General for Education, and Maryland Representative Andy Harris, requesting state and federal investigations into the funding of students who cannot be located. Fox 45 News is on the trail and will keep you posted of any response. Last year, the Maryland General Assembly passed the largest tax increase in the history of our state. And we're being told this is for education. Oh no, they just got 216 million. But they needed more of your tax money because it's for the children. Perhaps this gross mismanagement of attendance records will actually cause a change. And taxpayers are not being fleeced for students who were not going to the school. Are you serious? Are you serious? This is insane. Let me get this in position for you. I mean, the usual suspects, teachers unions, some stupid board committee, they need more money. They said it's an inconvenience. It's going to upset the balance of the universe. If we actually do an accurate count, we were not going to get our money. And we got to have our money. Oh man, this is just too much. This is just too much.
Tonight, a stunning finding by our Project Baltimore team.
Chris Papps has learned taxpayers in 2024 gave Maryland Public Schools hundreds of millions of dollars to educate students whose whereabouts were unknown.
No, you gave them money to indoctrinate the students who are actually there. Liberal propaganda. Let's teach them about feelings.
Maryland Public Schools right now are busy, not just educating students, but counting them.
And indoctrinating
In Maryland,
them.
Most of a school's funding is based on the number of students enrolled on September 30th. The students counted on that one day largely determines a school's funding the following year.
Let's just think about this logically. Does that not sound stupid? To do that? To get an accurate account of the students? One day. This is the day. So then what do they make an announcement on the 28th and say, hey, this is a morning announcements. Good morning, young minds full of mush, and be prepared for us to indoctrinate you today. But tomorrow, we need everybody to attend because we're going to count everybody. Don't you want to be counted? Don't you want to be counted?
But a Project Baltimore investigation is raising serious questions about that process. We've learned in 2024, taxpayers gave hundreds of millions of dollars to schools to educate students who could not be found.
This is very concerning.
State Delegate Kathy Slaga represents Baltimore.
Slaga, but it was S-Z-I-G something A. Slaga.
County. She's also a former public school teacher.
We need to do something to stop this problem.
In total, in 2024, more than 891,000 Maryland students were counted on September 30th. Throughout the year, according to the Maryland State Department of Education, about 14,500 students unenrolled in grades 7 through 12. The documented reasons students unenrolled range from illness to employment, but the biggest category by far is whereabouts unknown. Look at that number. Nearly 11,000 students were unenrolled because the school could not find them. But since the students were enrolled...
Are you guys buying it that the school couldn't find them? And they said that the numbers have been increasing every year so they can get more money from the federal government. They're getting 20,000 ahead. I mean, 10,000 times 20,000, you do the math. It's a lot of deble money. It's a lot of money. And what are they doing with this money? It's lining somebody's pocket. All these people need to be investigated. Their bank accounts, everything.
On paper on September 30th, the schools received your money to educate them for the entire year.
They don't even know where these kids are.
I'm begging the question is where did the money go? You don't know where the kids are because the kids were never there. So for the past several years, they've been getting millions upon millions of dollars. Where's this money going? Did the school get a new roof? Did they what's going on? Did they get a new gym? What's happening? Where's this money? Where's the accountability for money you're getting that there's even no students there? They don't exist.
Are they safe? Are there safety risks for these kids? Is it fraud?
According to state data, Maryland schools in 2024 received nearly $20,000 per student, meaning local and state taxpayers gave public schools statewide around $219 million in just 1 year.
And this is why school boards, teachers' unions, they are so dead set against having vouchers, where you, the parent, would get a voucher from the government, either 20,000, whatever it is. Each state has a different amount per child to go into the school. Here in this case, it's 20K a pop, 20K a head. So you want your kid to go to a different school because you're not liking the indoctrination, liberal, libtard crap that your local schools, providing for your children. You want to put your kid in maybe a Christian school or another, some type of private school, whatever the case may be. And Bush tried to get it passed years ago. No, they weren't having that because they want this money. They want your money, and now they're committing fraud to get even more of the taxpayer money when it's your money. Why could you not take that voucher and have your kid go to a school of your choosing? And guess what? The schools will probably straighten up and be more of a competitive. Who's got the better school? Who's got the better outcome? Who's got the better programs to teach your kid and prepare them for life?
To educate students whose whereabouts were unknown. And that amount does not include federal funding.
It's unacceptable.
Federal funding. So you got more federal funding. They don't want to give the parents a voucher in their own hands. And they don't want, which we just read the other article, that this Rose lady put out legislation. Let's count the kids several times a year. Let's get an accurate count. No, we can't do that because it's just going to complicate things. It's going to complicate things and be a detrimental to your child if you send them to a different school. I mean, what more excuses could they come up with not to do the right thing?
Well, for taxpayers' money to go for students that are knowingly not in the school system.
Funding missing students in Maryland is not a new problem. Project Baltimore first reported on the issue in 2021. But it is a problem that's getting much worse. In 2019, 6 years ago, the state reported just about 6,100 students whose whereabouts were unknown. Every year since, the number has increased.
Somebody went, wow, man, look at this. We got away with 6,000 unknowns at 20,000 a pop. Holy crap. We got a cash cow. Let's go. Let's go. And Trump talked about how the world just screws us over. And now it's time for things to get in balance. Well, check it out. You have the school system screwing over their own people. Their own people out of tax dollars. What was the line in Alien where she says to that guy, she goes, I don't see them fucking each other over for a percentage. In Aliens, that guy trying to hide an alien entity to take back with him to Earth. She's like, I don't see them screwing each other over. The aliens, yeah. It's hilarious. Well, they're screwing over their own people in their own state.
Why are they continuing to increase the number of students they're putting in the category of whereabouts unknown to receive funding for students that clearly do not attend school?
Following our reporting on missing students in 2021, Carroll County Delegate April Rose
There she is.
introduced legislation to count students
She needs a medal.
4 times a year to increase accuracy. Opponents, such as the teachers union, said the bill overcomplicates a data snapshot that is intended to ensure adequate funding for
That cracks me up. So really, they mean adequate funding for them, not for the children. It's hilarious.
schools.
There needs to be some course correction. Last year, the Maryland General Assembly passed the largest tax increases in the history of our state. And we're being told this is for education.
After speaking with Project
I know, I laugh, but guys, you can't make this stuff up. The liberals are so insane. Even their excuses for getting more money. And it's fraud. That's all they do. Lie, cheat, and steal. And pocket the money.
Baltimore, Schlager sent these letters to Rick Henry, the Maryland Inspector General for Education, and Maryland Representative Andy Harris, requesting state and federal investigations into the funding of students who cannot be located.
We need Doge on the case. Trump, we need you to send Doge and find out what's happening. And I guarantee you, I could probably put money on it. Maybe. This is happening everywhere. This is happening everywhere.
We'll keep you posted on any response.
The data tell us the number of students whose whereabouts unknown has drastically increased. But why is this happening? And should taxpayers continue to pay to educate students who cannot be found? We plan to attend Tuesday's State Board of Education meeting in Baltimore, and we will ask those questions to Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Carrie Wright. We'll keep you posted.
Who's running Baltimore? Liberals. They've been running it into the ground for decades. Now, I subscribe to this channel, WBFF Fox 45 Baltimore, because I want to try to catch in my feed since I subscribe to them. He's going to go to that meeting, and I'm going to try to do some follow-up on that. Lord willing, I will catch it, and I can do it, and there we go. Well, there you have it. Thought we'd do a little tidbit on that, and I found it very interesting. It's as usual, I thought it was hilarious that the absurdity of the left, and it's kind of nice to have it just laid out for us, so you, the people, can see for yourself how absurd the left is and how they just abuse the system to gain access to your money.